I mean, you're in a car with a rideshare driver, so clearly you've gotta review a movie about a rideshare driver.
It's taken 10 years. Finally, we have the most appropriate movie to be reviewing in the car. Not since the review of Getaway has this setting made more sense. I knew I had to pick this movie to watch today. This is tailor-made for you, dude. The villain in the movie is this crazy rideshare driver who starts stalking a man, and the main guy in the movie is a drummer. Someone has been stalking your life in order to make this film.
I mean, yeah, I will say it was kind of weird seeing this like juxtaposition of like relating to both this guy and that guy all at the same time.
The driver kind of looks like you too.
He does.
he looks like
balding up top.
Yeah. He looks like if you and I had a son and mixed him with a little bit of John Benjamin too. He's actually quite good in the movie.
Yeah.
I like the guy. Michael Joplin, I think, is the guy's name. There's a lot of acting in this movie that's kind of wooden.
Yes.
He's really good in this movie,
yeah,
though.
Yeah.
I like his evil face. Because there is something kind of, like...
Intense
and also, like, kind of self-aware about it. It's got sort of a tongue-in-cheek quality to it sometimes, where... He'll go out, early on in the movie, he'll go out with Andy, the main guy in it. The driver's name is Roger. They'll go out for a drink where they're just hanging out. And then afterwards, Andy will come home, crazy Uber driver, or I'm sorry, not Uber. It's got a logo that looks like Lyft, but it's called Ride. So, see, you're safe. It's you're Uber. This movie is written by someone who I think got... taken to the wrong direction when they got in it, when they used a lift. So he'll be walking away. The crazy driver will be like, "Hey, so long, take care. Tomorrow we're gonna get mimosas." Like, quickly turn evil face several times in the movie. He'll be like calling it like, "Well, a shame. We'll have to get together tomorrow." click. It'll just be cutting to him across the street, watching him, just total big evil eye gazed on him. Doesn't even need binoculars. He can probably just zoom in himself. And my favorite part of the movie, though, is when the main dude was FaceTiming with an employer of his, and the audio of the actual movie started going out.
Yeah, we thought it was the phone call at first.
Yeah, we did, because it happened when he picked up the phone and started FaceTiming with someone. And there's a significant amount of this movie that has to do with social media. Mm-hmm. So a scene like this, when it started it wasn't like it completely went mute. Things like that. It was doing that. Both of us just thought it was the movie and went through that whole scene being none the wiser, being like not even confused, like, am I missing important information? Right. No, I kind of got the gist of it, that was his employer. Right. I just thought that the phone was a dropped call.
And it wasn't until the next scene in the coffee shop where the audio was still doing that, I was like, oh, the movie's messing up.
We've been played. And I like that the thriller aspect of the movie goes from 0 to Fatal Attraction fast.
Yeah.
Really fast. Yeah. With this guy just going batshit insane in the first act of the movie. Someone like Alex from Fatal Attraction takes their time, and you spend a portion of the movie with the person seeming kind of normal, and then slowly but surely going crazy and starting to stalk the other person. This, no. It just takes the main guy, like, oh, I'm not answering the phone right now, I'm busy doing some other stuff, for the other dude to just go crazy and start stalking him and setting him up to go knock on the door of a drug dealer house to try getting him killed several times in the film because he was ghosted like once. And so I spent a lot of the movie going, why is this really happening? Like, man, this guy was just set off quick. It does explain it in the last like 15, 20 minutes or so, to a point. I still had some questions. Yeah. I was still like, okay, I'm still not really sure why this is going on, but in a different way than I was asking why before. Now I've got a whole other set of questions, but at least my earlier questions were sort of answered, just replaced with a whole new set of questions.
Right. I was not very impressed with this movie up until those last 15, 20 minutes. At that moment, that's whenever the movie actually got my attention, because it was just this like twist that you didn't. I don't know if you saw it coming. I really didn't.
Not really. Yeah, no, but I wasn't sitting there shocked when it happened.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't anything I thought about early on in the movie, but I was sitting there just sort of going, okay, well, they're going to explain a couple of questions that I had in my head. Even before then, I was honestly fine with this movie, despite sitting there going, why is this happening? There was a lot of things about it that I was really digging. The villain's performance, again, I thought was good. Some of the other acting, not really. He was kind of making up for a lot of that. But I do like that this is the kind of plot line that can be done so generic. I mean, it doesn't help that this movie has a very generic title. Stalker. Right. I would put money down that is not the original title of this movie. Yeah. But it's got the kind of plot line that you see on like the Lifetime Network 50 times a year. Yeah. And this movie is a bit more ambitious than that. This could be just some conveyor belt thriller that's just thrown out there. And yeah, there's some issues with some motivation and things like that about the movie in terms of a few of its characters, but in regards to the editing, the pacing, the cinematography, I thought they put a lot of thought into that. There were some montages that were really well done in this. There was some good tension in some scenes. Yeah. The lighting was especially good in a lot of shots.
I was going to ask you about that, because I noticed a lot of shots were these like close-up shots. And I know, working with you in the past, I knew that was like your prefer.
It kind of became my style because I use the onboard microphone for the camera, because I'm a very point and shoot shot on shitty director.
And I noticed that there on this too, they did a lot of close up shots, which I'm sure they weren't using the onboard.
No, microphone. I'm sure they weren't. I'm sure it's not like, in their particular case, it looked like this movie was storyboarded very, very, very well in terms of how a lot of the shots are set up, and especially the editing, all of which I thought was good. And I liked a lot of the colors in the movie. Granted, it's the kind of movie that I wish would have been made a few decades ago, so it could have some grit to it. Yeah. So it could be a little bit of a grainier, grittier movie. Yeah. As opposed to everything just kind of looking neat and polished nowadays. But no, I was digging the shots, and in this particular movie's case, yeah, it looked like it came from a lot of work put into telling this story and making it look really good, as opposed to when I shoot something like this, because it's like, well, I need to hear the actors. You're right.
Lavalier mics? No, we don't need that.
We don't need this shit. That takes too much time.
I was touching on the plot a little bit. Okay, so here's the thing. As a rideshare driver, I do not like the whole...
You know, man, I think you drove me home last night. We should grab a beer sometime.
Narrative of like your Uber driver. You know, everybody, there's this societal thing where Uber drivers are just automatically painted in a bad light, and I guess that's just the thing about this movie was this like
it's racist towards Uber drivers.
I mean, there's a little bit of discrimination.
This movie's very offensive.
There's a little bit of discrimination. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I just the premise of this movie kind of perpetuates that, but a little bit. But and I know I'm using.
Oh my God!
Look.
Yeah.
I know that this kind of makes me sound like...
You're right. It's the birth of a nation of rideshare movies. They didn't even hire a real Uber driver for this. No, go ahead.
No, you're... that's funny, but... But, like, I'm pretty sure the guy who wrote this, or the two guys that wrote this, just, like, had some kind of rideshare experience that was probably a little awkward. I'm not saying...
Sure.
I'm not saying they're all, like, the coolest guys ever. But I am saying that, don't bunch us all in together.
So you're saying Stuber was the more accurate rideshare?
I didn't see Stuber, but
this movie was better.
Okay.
Than Stuber, yeah.
Damn, that doesn't say much then.
But I don't think that this movie was made by anyone who wants to lobby a vendetta against Uber drivers or anything like that.
Well, no.
Just like I don't think that there should have been a giant wave of protests from Cablemen after the cable guy came out. The unsung minority.
Okay, but there's not already a pre-existing like narrative
of Cablemen.
Yeah,
there were.
There was?
Oh yeah. Cablemen are gonna break into your house and start doing a karaoke competition and sing Jefferson Starship. No, there were. I mean, there still are. Well, I don't know about. Well. There are some stereotypes of Cablemen. I don't know if it's a bad one, just that if a cable guy comes over, it might turn into a porn. Or they might be really late.
I wish that was the rideshare driver's stereotype. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Also, I don't think that the plot of this movie was really dependent that much on him being an Uber driver or a rideshare driver.
Right. No, especially at the end, I was kind of like, whoa, the whole premise now is just kind of...
Honestly, even before then, even before the ending, because this felt like a case where it's a Stalker movie and he just happened to be a...
Sure. Right,
like Fatal Attraction. It's like she just happens to work in this legal department or whatever it was she did. Here, he could have been anyone and the script wouldn't have changed that much. You could have made him just some guy in the bar who gave him a ride home. You could have made him a cab driver, a bus driver, or something like that.
I guess.
Yeah, and
a cable guy.
Or a cable guy, yeah. And the script wouldn't change that much, really. It's not like it's a movie that's showing him like The Bone Collector or something like that,
right? Where
it's showing him going around and picking up people and kidnapping them and then killing them. Then I could kind of see your issue a little bit, where it's like, whoa, this movie might make people scared to take it. I don't think this movie is in that category, really. I think it's a movie about a guy who's crazy, and that doesn't really factor that much into his job. Sometimes, though, it's kind of hilarious where after he calls to set up the lead character to go to that drug house and almost gets him killed, the main guy's what he does is he just calls like the Uber office to complain, like, this dude almost got him killed by this drug house, and he's like, man, I am calling to like file a complaint. This is bullshit. Can you take the star down from 5 to like 4? Because he did get me to my place on time. I could have done without sending me to a drug house like a week later. But all of that's not the things like sending him to the drug house and a lot of the other weird shit that he's doing in the movie none of it's really dependent on him on what his job is. Really.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I don't know, man. It's just because there's already so much bad press, you got the guy who posed as an Uber driver, this happened a couple years ago where it's just stuff like that is just like movies like this don't help. Like, come on, man.
I don't know. I don't really see this movie making any kind of difference in that regard because, like I said, just how little that factors into the movie's plot. But I do want to see your protest signs. I do want you to go to the studio where this is shot with a big sign that says "Critical Rideshare Theory."
Next time I go to LA, yeah, all right.
Please,
I'll just like do it for the photo.
Yes. Well, what grade would you give it?
Man, like I said, the last little bit, the twist, really impressed me.
Yeah.
I'm with you on the cinematography. I'm with you on a lot of the technical stuff. And the guy who played Roger was really good.
He was really good.
I really liked him a lot. C-.
Sure.
C-.
I do think that this movie has a lot more to say than your typical movie like this. It's a lot more ambitious than 9 out of 10 Stalker movies that you see nowadays. And like I said, 9 out of 10 of those would probably be on the Lifetime network. It's a lot more ambitious than that. The villain's performance is solid. There's some side characters that are kind of two-dimensionally written, like the teenager who's saying things like, "Yo, do you Snap? What about Insta? You got Insta, right? Hey, man, your Insta's kind of basic. Sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you." I'm like, yeah, okay, Twitter filter. Jesus. But it's a good-looking movie. It's edited well. It's entertaining. So I'd give it a B-.
Really?
Yeah, because there were decent things about it. It's a solid rental. The script could use the script could be punched up a little bit.
Yeah.
But there was some solid work here. So it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Honestly, I would probably even make the case for why Andy is secretly the villain. Like, he meets up with that girl and, you're led to believe that he moved from Austin because of a breakup.
Yeah.
And then at the twist, he reveals, "Oh, I'm not who I said I was." He's all...
He lied to a girl at a bar. I wouldn't say that makes him the villain. Like, he's not the most likable lead in the world.
Right.
But, he just lied to a girl at a bar. Like, it's just like, yeah, okay. Like, that's
pretty typical.
That's better than what the villains are doing, like gouging people's eyes out and leaving them for dead and like.
True.
But at least they're honest. Sort of, not really, actually. All right, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.